Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, we're introduced to Arthur Dent, who is kind of like a British everyman, very polite, very sort of neurotic. Uh, yeah, what do you think of Arthur, Isaac?
I think the entire book has Arthur playing the everyman, and oh my gosh, in so many ways, it just takes the piss out of him. Like, for example, Zaphod Beeblebrox literally cucks Arthur in one chapter.
That's yeah.
I just like after a while, I just feel bad for him.
Yeah, you do feel bad for him, but also at the same time, like he's the lucky one because he escapes Earth. So to give a little bit more background here, uh, Earth is obviously not alone in the universe or in the galaxy. There is a race of bureaucratic aliens who are the most unpleasant species like ever, right? And they're called the Vogons. They have been ordered by I think by Zaphod, right? Actually, because he's president of the galaxy.
I don't think it was specifically Zaphod. I think it was just some. I think it was just some formless bureaucracy that was
Right.
just trying to. It just did it because they
So
needed
so
to
so
do
the formless galactic bureaucracy, they decide that there needs to be an interstellar bypass where Earth's orbit is, so they have to destroy Earth. Now, this mirrors hilariously with Arthur's own personal struggles. The British government, the British bureaucracy, are trying to tear down his house to make way for a bypass to the highway as well. Uh, so just really funny stuff there from Adams. Uh, of course, Arthur has one friend, Ford Prefect, who is kind of he's introduced as sort of a eccentric guy. We later learn that he's an alien from a planet that orbits Betelgeuse. R.I.P. Betelgeuse, by the way. I think didn't it like supernova or something recently?
I don't think not yet.
Or
Um,
or it's close. It's going to be gone soon, right? Uh, so so Ford is able to get Arthur off planet. Uh, they are captured by the Vogons, who hate hitchhikers. Uh, they're tortured by having to listen to Vogon poetry, and are are then sort of they hitchhike their way onto another ship called the Heart of Gold, which is uh, a sort of like a kind of the most advanced ship in the galaxy at that point, right? Anything I've missed thus far, Isaac?
Nothing important. I do like the Heart of Gold's infinite improbability drive. That's the correct name for it. That's that's probably the most unique FTL drive I've seen in just science fiction generally.
Yes, I remember. There's I'm just because I'm pretty familiar with the movie, as well as the book. There's one part in the movie where they turn into yarn puppets, and I think it's Arthur. He ends up vomiting into a bucket, but it's just all yarn. It's a really funny scene. So let's talk about. I guess let's talk about Ford. Kind of like the best friend character. Not a lot there, except obviously his eccentricities. Uh, yeah. What do you think of Ford as a character? And
I think he's the I think he's the Bender equivalent to Fry, if to make it parallel to Futurama. He's a lot more knowledgeable. He's sort of the counterpoint to Arthur's naivete. He's the one who actually has a clue about what's going on, and he's also one of the few guys looking out for Arthur in his own roundabout way. It's
Right.
sort of the I think Ford Prefect is probably the stand-in character for Douglas Adams.
Now, what's interesting about Ford Prefect, and a friend of mine told me this long time ago, that the name itself is a joke, right? Because you had the Ford automobile, and the British had the Prefect automobile, and Ford's whole thing is that he tries to uh, he thinks that cars are the dominant species on Earth. So that's just another joke that Adams puts in here, and there's so many little jokes that you can miss on your first or second reading. It's really layered, and that's probably that's a hallmark of solid writing is when you can go back and just find little things, especially in comedic writing, which is I think it's pretty difficult to pull off something that's funny when you're only using words on a page, because
Yeah,
like
because like language loses words communicate a lot, but like real a lot of times humor is done through tone, intonation, um, timing, and that's a lot more restrictive when it's on the page instead of just listening to someone.
I mean, even
So it's
body language,
yeah,
or and some comedies will even, like you have sitcoms that'll put in a laugh track, to help their jokes land, and get into that, make people laugh at crappy jokes because everybody else is laughing, sort of thing. So they get into psychology. It's actually kind of pernicious when you think about it.
yeah. It's that's how the Big Bang Theory
Oh,
caught on.
have you ever seen like it's called sitcoms without laugh tracks? And it's
I,
just
I
a
saw
like
that. I saw it for the Big Bang Theory. Yeah,
yeah, it's just
it
like
was just
a
cringe.
joke is told and then there's like a 5-second awkward pause.
Yeah.
Oh, everybody's just staring at each other. Yeah. So that's,
Uh,
it's the hallmark of somebody who's obviously very clever and very funny to be able to pack in so many jokes and allusions and references, and have it work because say what you want about the fan base, say what you want about sort of what has become after Adams's death. The work itself is just it's a brilliant piece of comedic writing.
yes, it is. Um, I mean, I wanted to bring up like when I was reading this in high school and then going back for the reread. There are there are a few jokes that I recall, whereas like all the others sort of faded to memory. Um, the first one is the 42 joke, which for listeners who haven't read, basically this super powerful race creates this awesome computer designed to calculate the answer to life, the universe, and everything. And it spends millions of years calculating it. And when the day comes, there's this huge celebration. The scientists walk up to the monolith, and the monolith spits back, "Oh yeah, by the way, the answer is 42," and then says they never really formulated the correct question.
Which I mean, as a and this is very interesting. Every podcast that I've had thus far, and this is only the sixth one, but I can see it going forward in the future. We end up talking about faith.
Mm.
I'm a recent. I've recently come back to Christianity after a long lapse, let's say, and even this joke by Adams that the scientists can find an answer but don't know the right questions, right? It's kind of it's taking this monolith, literally this monolith of science, and trying to contort it and twist it to fit every whim and every need that that people have. And even if Adams wasn't trying to do this, just the cultural moment that we live in, I think makes that joke a little bit more spicy, let's say, than maybe it was intended. You know?
Yeah, there's a bunch of jokes in here which you can take a more it, knowing Douglas Adams's personal views, I can't help but think he's trying to take a shot at religion
Oh,
because he was a
definitely.
radical atheist. But
Yep,
the joke
totally.
sort of turns on him um, because he can't come up with a better answer than 42,
Yeah,
which I
and
find ironic.
I think that's that is definitely the ultimate irony that everything that this guy kind of stands for leads him nowhere, in a sense, and he's kind of left holding the bag. So let's see. So we're on the Heart of Gold. We're introduced to Zaphod properly. We're introduced to Trillian, who was an Earth woman, the one that Zaphod uses to cuck Arthur. Uh, we also are introduced to my favorite character, Marvin, the uh, depressed android. I just think everything that guy says is a stitch. Um, Played very well by Alan Rickman in the American film. I'm gonna keep referencing this friggin' movie just because I remember it just so vividly. So anybody out there who has a problem with that, you know where to leave the comments. Isaac, what do you think about uh, any of these guys? Marvin, Zaphod, Trillian.
Well, I guess I'll start with Zaphod because there was a wonderful joke. I believe it's in the second book where he's taken to be tortured by this machine called the Total Perspective Vortex. And the purpose of the machine is it shows how insignificant you are to the rest of the universe. Zapod walks in, walks out, perfectly fine, and there is another guy there, and he's absolutely stunned at this. He says, "What happened?" And Zapod's like, "Apparently, I'm the most important person in the universe."
Which, I mean, he's a complete egoist or
Yeah, yeah.
egotist rather. He has a sort of he splits his brain and has two heads. It's very bizarre. But yeah, he's kind of an idiot, but he's also he's that kind of bumbling fool that just allows the plot to move forward in a lot of ways. Um, yeah, I mean, I think I don't really have a whole lot of commentary on Zaphod other than he's just a really fun character.
Yeah, he seems to be the. I definitely agree with your take there. He's the bumbling fool that somehow everything works out for him anyway.
Yeah,
Um,
I have a little bit of that in my own life, so maybe that's why I have such an affinity for Zaphod. Things just kind of
I
work
think
out
we
for
all
me.
have a bit of Zapod in us.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely want to walk into that total perspective vortex and get told, "Oh, hey, you're
Oh,
the most
you're
important
the
person."
most important person in the entire universe.